The average cost of residential care provision per child per week is around £3,000. We mentioned earlier on, it's 25,000 children, nearly now a year, being taken away from their families and being put into foster care. And then, as this government wants, in the coming weeks and months, to fast track those children to go into permanent adoption, their parents will never see them again. The majority of people who have their children taken have never harmed a hair on the head of their child. This is a fact. You want to hear this? Foster children went missing from care in England more than 17,000 times last year in this country. But what I think when I hear that is thousands of children running out into the streets trying to figure out a way back to their mother, maybe their father. Let's welcome Andreia to the programme. Andreia, how are you?
Hi, Richie, and hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm a bit emotional myself now from already listening the first few minutes. It's quite intense already.
It's intense, isn't it? And
it is.
I can't imagine what it's like for you and everybody else. And I have to keep saying that. I have no idea what it's like. It hasn't affected me personally. Well, it has, because when I listen to these stories, it stays with me it stayed with me forever, but I haven't experienced it. You're originally from Romania.
Yes.
And your story is an incredible story. Tell us what happened to you. I'll ask you to be kind of brief with that if you can, bearing in mind lots more people want in on the programme, but I do want to talk to you. I want you to kind of give us an idea of what happened, and then I want you to bring us up to date on what you're doing now. So tell us what happened to you. How did forced adoption come to you?
I'll do my best to wrap it up as quick as I can. But basically, my children, they're not adopted. They're forcibly fostered long term. I have 3 children. In 2009, I was married previously with a British man. And he was married before he married me. He had another marriage, and he's had children with his ex-wife. So in 2009, social services opened up child protection meeting to put my children on child protection register on the risk of sexual abuse, because my ex-husband, his older daughter from first marriage, when she heard I had children with him, she suddenly decided after 30 years or so to make an accusation for the first time that her dad allegedly has sexually abused her between 7 and 13.
Wow. And he said to you, Andreia, this never happened. He completely denied it never happened.
He totally denies it. He totally denies it.
And you believe him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry?
Fair. And you believe him?
Not really. No, I don't.
Right. Okay. Because I kind of know the story, but yeah, I want to kind of to move it along. So they come and say that he's been accused of this, and what? And this is absolutely extraordinary. What happens then?
Yeah. Well, the police came. They arrested him on suspicion of sexual abuse. Manchester Crown Prosecution, I think it was the criminal court, they dropped the case because they said they did not have enough collaboratory evidence from his older daughter, but it appeared to be credible. The social services asked him to leave the house while they investigated, which he moved out. Then the social services in Lancashire, where we lived at the time, said, yes, we've done all the investigation. You can come back. We are satisfied. Wish you all the best for the future. So as far as we knew, all it was dealt with and we could move on with our lives. Then I moved in under Sefton, Merseyside, in Southport, and everything got transferred over there, all the files, all the history. And basically how it started, I was getting ready to move. I was a single mother then. I was no longer with my children's father. He was married to someone else. And I was getting ready to move back in. I had a big garden, safe and secure. So my children were playing outside in the garden. And every now and again, I popped out or through the window to check they were all right. So I didn't know this, but suddenly I turned up, I think it was the next day, or the same day when the social services turned up on my door saying the next door neighbor, they made a complaint. She saw my children playing with the knives in the garden. Now, this is how it all started. But my children, when I talked to them about it, said, Mom, we were cutting the grass with the knives. They made an assessment quickly through my house. They started to make false reports. They started to say about my ability as a mother. My eldest son and youngest was diagnosed in Romania and in England with ADHD. And they totally refused that and stopped my son's medication with no right whatsoever, because they said they did not accept that diagnosis. But instead of them accepting the ADHD diagnosis, they said it's my ability as a parent. I have done then a child psychology course, level 3, understanding and managing children with ADHD. I've done how to protect vulnerable young children and young people. I've literally done everything. I've done. I fully cooperated and all that, but it just did not make a difference. Then the theft and social services decided to take this case with the accusation about my ex-husband to a family court. So a family court judge would decide a finding of fact whether he did abuse his daughter from his first marriage or not. So take that into account. All that trial was about him, not about me at all. And without warning, they suddenly turned on myself and my children and said to me while I was at court, the children will be removed, you will have parental responsibility, and we will. And the judge said these exact words: I am not removing your children from you because you're a bad mother or you don't love them, but you are at court every day here for the finding of fact. And you cannot give the full attention to your children, and plus you're moving and having to cope with all that stress and the court stress. Anyway, by the end of the trial, it seemed that the court forgotten to return my children. I've never seen them since. I've rented a 3-bedroom house. I made it beautiful, ready for my children, bought new stuff. Just had the empty beds, really. Then obviously I'm married now to a young Romanian man, and he's been very supportive of me. But it's just, nothing to do with my ex-husband, and this still makes no difference to them. I've proven over and over again to them that I've literally moved on and done everything to prove to them that I'm a capable mom, responsible. And in fact, a social worker admitted at court, I've never abused or neglected my children and loved them.
No, this whole idea of the children getting a hold of a knife and having it in the garden, that's to suggest that the mother or the father of that child is negligent is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
That's what they said in reports. I've got the report, and I've not seen it until only few months ago when I was going through paperwork, and I literally saw in writing that the neighbor made a call, and I know, to say that's neglect, on the basis of neglect. But obviously it was easy for them, a single mom, young mom, foreigner, so they had nothing on me whatsoever, nothing. But from the moment they set eyes on my family, my children, there was no way to get out of it.
Do you know what's disgusting to me more than anything is the idea that a neighbour would see the children, and the neighbour, their first thought is to make a phone call and to say something to the authorities. What happened to, you're a young girl, Andreia, what happened to the neighbour saying, hey, Andreia, come over and have a cup of tea?
She told me that.
Just keep an eye on the children, or listen. I was a bit worried when I saw one of the children with a knife from the kitchen. What happened to that? How can they ring the authorities?
She told me that. But she obviously didn't tell me. She also rang the social services behind my back.
Right.
But one story short, quickly, because I'm aware other people need to come on. They constantly now refuse to give me my children back on the basis that they say it is their opinion, and this is written in all their statements, and I can prove it, is their opinion, not fact, opinion, that I am not trusted to protect my children from their father. One moment, let me clarify.
Is that what they're saying? They're saying that they don't trust you to keep your children away from a man whom you believe has committed a sexual offence against children. That's all they're saying, basically.
Yes, basically, yeah. Yes, and then they throw in other parts like, if it's all written in everything I say, I've got the evidence, black on white. And they say some things like, if your children come home, it will cause problems between you and your husband. Well, how do they know that? Have they been in my house? Do they know my husband personally? Did they ever give us that chance? No, they haven't. They have no right whatsoever, a social worker, to make such statement at all. And says, I'll find it hard to manage their challenging behaviour. But hang on, my children's behaviour got much worse since they're in care than they ever been at home.
Now, do you get to see them at all?
No, they stopped my contact.
When was that? When was the last time you saw them?
December 2014 was our last contact. I didn't know that. None of us knew. What happened was I got fed up. I got frustrated with the way we were treated. Basically, we were forbidden and told not to speak Romanian at the contact, or they will stop the contact, and if we don't leave, they call the police. My two daughters, when they came into contact, they said, Mom, they told us we're not allowed to speak Romanian between the two of us. They actually forbidden me, and it's written in documents. They complained about my Christian faith and told me if my children asked me questions about God to avoid the questions, change the subject. They complained at court that I'm bombarding, exact words, my children with Christian biblical teachings.
Now, you don't get a chance. I'm sorry to interrupt you because this is very important. You don't get a chance to challenge that. They basically go to the family court judge and they say, Andreia is doing this, Andreia is doing that. You don't get a chance to stand in front of the family court judge and say, this is a load of nonsense.
I told them, but the judge is not listening. I presented so much evidence, and believe me, I've got tons of it against them. And the judge, I'm going to say it, and it's the truth, she's so racist. She made threats to me and to my husband, and I can prove it. That's
don't name her now. Whatever you do, don't name her. Not for the time being anyway.
I won't. Everything I say now, I can prove to the last dot. And she said to us, if you speak or tell anyone outside this courtroom what's going on, I have the power to commit you to prison. Do you understand?
The gagging order.
Exactly. These are exact words she said to us. Yes.
So I
literally went public in May 2015 with our case because obviously I got fed up. I've written to the court a letter to complain. They done nothing about it. Social services done nothing about it. All our human rights gravely breached and trampled over every time. They hide from me how my children do at school. They hide from me, they put my children on sleeping tablets. They hide from me, my daughter has nosebleeds regular because of stress.
If you haven't seen them since late 2014, how do you find this out?
Well, before the contact was stopped, what I've done due to all my frustration with all the treatment I had from social services, I said, well, I'm getting nowhere. They're not giving me extra contact because I was seeing them 6 times a year. And then the brother and sisters only once a year alone, which is disgusting. So I said, I'm going to go and see my children. I'm going to go and see them. My daughter started high school, and I used that as an opportunity. I had contact with her for quite a few good weeks, gave her some mobile phones, and she was absolutely over the universe. She was so happy. She regained her confidence, her strength, her courage. And during this time when I was speaking to her, she told me a lot of things which I didn't know about. She opened up to me, and I still got the messages from her to prove what she said to me. How much she's suffering with my other daughter, where she is. She sent me a photograph on Facebook when she had a bloody nose, quite a heavy bloody nose. The photo is on my Facebook. It's public. Anyone can see my evidence. I've posted a lot there. And it distressed me because she said, Mom, it's okay. You don't need to worry, because the doctor said it's only the body's natural way to get rid of stress. And I have these quite a lot. So my question is this, and I asked them at court, and I shown the photograph to the judge and to everyone. And I said, if my child is so happy and settled, like they say in reports, and healthy, why is this? Why is she so stressed that her body can't cope with it and she's getting nosebleeds?
Because she's stressed. And I've had an email from Jacqueline while you've been speaking there, and Jacqueline has said, Richie, what Andreia is saying is so true. I believe, Jacqueline writes, she's written me about 3 paragraphs there. I'll rush through what she says. She says, I believe, Richie, that the social services were telling my children before my visitation not to tell me anything negative, not to complain about the foster care, not to say that they missed me, not to say anything like that. These visits, she says, are absolutely terrible. And I totally empathise with what Andreia is saying. Did you feel that before your contact was terminated? Did you feel that when you saw the children, that they'd been controlled, that they'd been told beforehand, don't say this to mummy, don't say that, don't speak about this?
Yes, because they even tell us to our face, the social workers and the supervisor, we're limited what to say to the children. We're not even allowed to say to the children that we apply to court. We're not allowed to say anything that they call emotional, like I'll never stop fighting for you and I'll never give up on you. We're not allowed to say that. Then obviously my children, you can see it, sometimes my children will come up with stuff like you know that they want to tell you, but because you know your children and you can tell, and they're looking at the supervisor and they're looking at you when they want to tell you certain things, and sometimes they would come and whisper in my ear, and the supervisor tells them they're not allowed.
We've heard that so many times. I want you to hang on and stay with me for a couple of more minutes, by the way, Andreia. There are listeners asking me to ask you, and I was going to ask you anyway, has your own government been any use to you whatsoever? Has the European Union Court of Human Rights been any use? You already mentioned the European Union. Do you want to answer that for me briefly? What about your own government, the Romanian authorities and the European Union? Have they any sympathy with what's happened to you?
I get a lot of support from the Romanian people. I don't get much support from the British people. I'm saying that, and I'm so disappointed because I thought I had friends here who truly loved me, but they're either afraid or they're either ignorant or they don't care, whatever the reason. But from my Romanian people, I get a lot of support. I've written a letter to the president of Romania, President Iohannis, and he obviously transferred it to the Minister of External Business, however you call it in England, I'm not sure. But then they said to me as an excuse, well, we can't because the children have double citizenship. Right. Then I speak to other people in the government in Romania and said that is not true and is an excuse, basically. Now our case has been made public. We've got about 3 or 4 articles written already. And at least because quite a lot of media, Romanian media, has actually written about our case. And I've been to the child protection in my town. I've just been in Romania. I've just come back actually, and obviously I need to send them everything, give everything they've asked for them to open a petition and investigate.
So you're in the process of doing that. I want you to hold that thought, okay? And stay with me for another couple of minutes. I'm going to bring, later on, in about 15 minutes' time, we're going to have my friend Emma Ibitson is going to join me to talk about Traffic 2 and everything that's been happening with her since we last spoke. But in the meantime, Kelly Cottam, who's been on the programme before, is going to come on now and chat with us. It's coming up for, well, it is exactly the top of the hour. This is the Richie Allen Show in association with davidicke.com. This is the first programme of its kind. We've never seen a radio programme like this. It's never happened before anywhere in the world. We've opened basically the Skype line to the parents of children, the men and women who've been at the brunt or basically at the wrong end of the forced adoption stick. That's what we're doing tonight. We thought about it long and hard, Claire Calvi, my producer, and myself, and we said we're going to do it come hell or high water. There's plenty of time. There are people lined up to chat to me in the second hour. We'll be chatting to Sky a bit later on. As I said, Emma Ibitson is going to join me. Do tweet at Richie Allen Show. Email richie@richieallen.co.uk. Jacqueline was saying the stress of, she was in her email, the stress of going to the visitations, knowing that, number one, you're going to have to leave the children there and then go home. But two, because you are convinced, Jacqueline said, that the children are being told how to behave during the visitation as well. It's sickening. And a number of you have tweeted and in fact emailed at the same time. I can't handle the amount of tweets coming in. There are hundreds and there are thousands of people listening to this programme tonight, verifiably, who are absolutely gobsmacked at what they're hearing. Kelly Cottam was on the programme before. It's happened to Kelly. She works tirelessly now, along with a lot of other people, to campaign against it, not only to raise awareness of it, but to change the law. To change the laws that allow this sort of thing to happen. Kelly, welcome back to the programme. How are you? She's not there, is she not? You're not there, Kelly? I don't think we have Kelly. I'm going to try Kelly again. It's at Richie Allen Show on Twitter and richie@richieallen.co.uk. Let's see, can we raise Kelly and get her on the programme. Also on the line to us is Andreia, who, as I said, is originally from Romania. She explained to us there what happened to her. Disgraceful. Kelly, I hope you're there now. Are you there? No, we're having a problem with that. So, Andreia, just before we let you go then, you basically now, you've said that you've put together, or you are putting together, basically a file for the authorities in your hometown in Romania, and you're hoping from there that they'll be able to do something about it.
If I can quickly just say that since obviously the reason they stopped my contact was because I had the unsupervised contact with my children, and because I went public with my case, which they have in May when I first went public. I've uploaded a video on YouTube and I named people. I gave identity, my children and everybody else, and I said what happened. So the court and the social services have told me immediately to remove that, and they tried everything they could to intimidate me, and that's all they were talking about. They were paranoid about the fact that I went public, and they said if the mother continues to post on social media, on internet, and we have no choice but to stop the contact. So I think that was the main reason they stopped my contact, not because I've given some of our funds to my children.
Just before we leave it there, and I want to move on, are your children still in foster care, or have they been moved into permanent adoption?
No, they can't be because they're too old. They're long-term foster care. But we're having a lot of ordeal. Like obviously, my son was with this really lovely man, and they took him from there because he's had more freedom and he could come to see us anytime. And they moved him back to the children's home where he suffered a lot of abuse and bullied. while he was there, it was investigated, and the police said that they have no evidence as usual. And then the foster carers for my girls, they've made false allegations about us, that we've harassed them and so on, and which they didn't know we recorded. And then we can prove that they've actually made false reports at the police. But the fact it's still ongoing, the investigation of harassment, and is the ordeal we're put through. You know, I mean, my children, they're scared now to, even when they see me on the street. I went to see them and followed them, and when they see me on the street, they run away, especially the youngest one, and she goes hysterical because they refuse to speak to me. They were told if they do, mommy goes to prison.
That you'll go to prison.
And
Andreia,
I
want to thank you for coming on. We spent quite a bit of time on that, and I really appreciate it. And again, I sincerely mean what I say. Do stay in touch with us on social media, myself and my producer Claire, and let us know what's going on. We're not people here who want to exploit people because they've got very, very heart-wrenching stories to tell so we can get a programme out of it. We're not interested in that. Stay in touch with us. And
Thank
we
you
will,
very much.
not at all, we'll follow you down the line. That was Andreia there on the line to us, and I want to thank her for coming on. And